Let's wait until 7 to start. But... All right, we're gonna get started here. Call the Olivet City Council meeting July 14th, 2026 to order. Can we please call for roll?
Mayor Lewis.
Here.
Chairman Pro Tem Pishon Hellman.
Here.
Councilmember Clark.
Here.
Councilmember Solomonov.
Here.
Councilmember Dragell.
Here. Excellent. All right, on to item 2. Are there any communications to share, please?
I do not have any written communications.
Then we will move on to item 3, the city manager's report, please.
All right. Good evening, everyone. So we have a couple of updates for Olive Crossing as it is the first meeting of the month. So first and foremost, there is only one remaining vacant tenant space on Lot 3, and they have also pulled plumbing permits through St. Louis County for the completion of the fountain. So that's the fountain that is right along this area of Lot 3. And then Lot 5, if you have driven on or off I-70 at Olive, you have hopefully seen the sign, but Texas Roadhouse is the restaurant that is coming for the northern portion of Lot 5. So we expect that plans for PCDC will be submitted within the next 6 to 8 weeks. At least we are hopeful for that. And so that will be the beginning of that development process. And then Lot 6, I don't have an update for Lot 6 in the hotel. We're still waiting for those construction plans. Olivet Night Out, registration is open. So September 15th, beginning at 6 p.m. This is the annual event where council members and staff members visit a variety of subdivision neighborhood parties. So if you have a subdivision or just a block that would like to participate in Olivet Night Out, feel free to scan the QR code down at the bottom to register. And if you have any questions or want additional information, please feel free to reach out to Lieutenant Seltzer. And he is coordinating this year's Olivet Night Out. We have gotten a couple questions today about early voting, so we just wanted to distribute this information. So early voting for August 4th begins on July 21st. The City Center and Five Oaks are not locations for early voting. So if you are interested in voting early for the August 4th election, I would encourage you to either scan the QR code or find the St. Louis County Election Board website. They have all of the information about where you can do early voting and times for those early voting. And then I just want to thank everybody who came out last week for Chat with the Mayor. The topic was neighborhood improvement districts. If you were unable to attend, or even if you did attend, but you would like to review the presentation or read the draft policy or watch a video of the meeting, please do that. They are all linked on the city's website under Chat with Mayor, the neighborhood improvement dedicated page. You can also scan the QR code. It will take you right there. And then I encourage everybody to sign up for the Olivet Weekly. This is an electronic newsletter that comes out every Monday that has all kinds of updates on various things going on in the city. And then I just have a couple of general updates. We have been hiring for a number of vacant positions. So first and foremost, Will Gooden is our sports specialist. He started July 6th. We'll be bringing him to the council meeting on August 11th to meet everybody. Betty Pendleton will be starting July 27th. She's our new court administrator. And Dalton Tinklenberg is our new building inspector one. He's coming from Indiana, so he is starting August 3rd. Finance director applicants are being reviewed by staff. Applications closed on Friday, so we have a number of applications to go through before we schedule interviews. And then we are also recruiting for 2 police officer positions. And so anyone who knows of a law enforcement officer who might want to come and work for the city of Olivet, we would encourage you to either find the information on the city's website, or I know the police department and the city's Facebook pages also have links to the application. And then lastly, this is just a follow-up from the Hicks-Carter-Hicks survey. The Inclusion Committee is meeting July 29th to start their work on the employee recognition program. And then Gloria Hicks is the principal of Hicks-Carter-Hicks. She is on vacation, but when she comes back, I'll be meeting with her to talk about how they can support us for implementation on a number of their recommendations. So we're continuing to start that implementation process. And then lastly, here is your upcoming meeting date. The one item of note is that the PCDC meeting, which would normally meet this Thursday, was rescheduled to July 23rd. They were not going to have a quorum on the 16th, and so the commission rescheduled it at their last meeting. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have before I turn it over to Mr. McGregor to talk about lighting on the railroad right-of-way.
For Texas Roadhouse, is that whole lot being built out, the whole building, or is it just a standalone building just for that?
Texas Roadhouse is going to be a standalone building, but they are dividing Lot 5 in 2. And so they are taking the northern portion of Lot 5, and then somebody else that they have not secured yet will take the southern portion of Lot 5.
So it's all getting built out at the same time, or we don't?
No.
Yeah. Like the parking lot and the full footprint.
For Texas Roadhouse,
Okay.
yes, but the southern half of Lot 5, they don't have a tenant for yet.
Okay.
Are they close?
In the development world, when speaking to developers, close is not a good measure of time. So
Understood.
Alrighty, before we moved on to liaison reports, you mentioned something.
right,
Yeah.
Mr. McGregor is going to talk about potential lighting on the railroad right of way.
Greetings.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, Bruce McGregor, Public Works Director. This is exciting as we keep getting closer to the final segment of Greenway through Olivet. In our planning with the design team, we had discussed the uniqueness of this segment of Greenway through Olivet being, number one, that it's through a railroad, old abandoned or upcycled, we'll say, railroad corridor, and through our light industrial corridor. And as we were talking about all the designs and the locations, we brought up the thoughts that maybe in the dusk or the early hours that because of this remoteness, it might be worthwhile to consider some sort of a lighting solution through there. Part of the corridor is actually recessed in sort of a little valley area in there that makes it feel even a little bit more isolated. Some of it is elevated where you do have a view, but regardless, it is unique to any other trail that we have in Olivet, and more so in a neighborhood or in more of a grander, say, park environment, right, with more adjacent open space. So the discussion came up on staff and said, well, what should we do? You know, number one, they said, well, at certain areas along the trail, we always have our emergency locator number so that if somebody has a emergency, they can call 911 and give them this number. You know, police and fire services know exactly where to respond. We said we can certainly put in a call box, and that's outlined in the study as well, so that if something happens there's a call box that can go out to emergency service for assistance. And then we talked about lighting. Okay. So we went through the discussion. We said, well, you know, here in Olivet, we don't typically provide lighting in parks. We are a very conscious community about lighting in general. wanting to maintain dark skies compliance, wanting to be mindful of, light trespass and overlighting and, what solutions are out there. Fortunately, this is a very common topic among many municipalities right now, trying to find solutions that are a softer impact, yet still provide the lighting necessary. So as we went through discussion, we told the GRG team, what some of our considerations would be, which are in the study, the dark size compliance, those sort of items. We want to be mindful of trespass and so on. And we reviewed the submittal, the study, which outlines solar options outside, a traditional underground line voltage option, or using a more traditional roadway lighting off of the existing utility poles that are there to light the area. No decision was made. This was here is a presentation of options to provide to the city of Olivet. So in our internal discussions, we said, well, given that this is a unique area to Olivet through the light industrial park, a former roadway, we sort of felt that this wasn't really parkland, right? It's more of a transportation corridor through the light industrial park, and thought that given that uniqueness of not being parkland, that maybe there would be a concession to put in lighting along the trail. Or at least take that discussion a little further along. So we wanted to present this to you for consideration as well, and give you a little bit of the background of what we had done, in preparation to bring this up, since we're getting so close to construction. GRG is still finalizing, the design, but as we get closer, they're going to have to include or not include something in the final design drawings and bid documents. So I'd be happy to answer any questions and see what your thoughts are.
Does page 3 have a map?
Yeah. So there is a map all the way at the end. Well, there's a map showing the alignment. And then at the very end, there's a highlighted map that shows the area of the trail where we would consider the lighting, which is really the northern trajectory and a little bit of public works going into the light industrial park, less so down by CVS and Irvington Place. So
this part.
that is the very remote area north, the northwest trajectory off of Alice behind Emerson. And then also we're looking at along the HDIS and the Mirowitz property in there. Yes.
Or did someone else have their hand?
Go
Okay.
ahead.
What hours are you thinking of lighting this?
So one of the things we were looking at is, what kind of smart controls we can get at the lights,
Yeah.
right? Certainly we would want, some sort of a dusk to dawn, a dusk to 4 hours, the lights could come on, a high, low, medium, dusk, they turn on, they go to low setting, right? This is the smartest controller. They turn on at dusk, they go to a low setting, and then a motion sensor raises the voltage up so that you get more light. And then after a period of time, it dies back down. But, it depends on what kind of fixture we select. The most affordable type, if we go on to the utility poles, those fixtures aren't really smart that Ameren provides, and I don't know what they would allow us to substitute to go on their utility poles, right? As we get down to the ground level, meaning an underground fed AC current type system or a solar, a head system, they do have quite sophisticated controls. So we have some control over that, but I don't envision this being an all night item.
Right. Do you envision, because with parks, you're supposed to leave.
Right, exactly, yeah.
But do you envision this people being more attracted now that this is lit up and could be?
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
I don't envision this corridor being used at 11 o'clock for night for somebody to commute to work. But if we get this connection regionally, right, and this is an important piece of it, that somebody's coming all the way from, I don't know, the light industrial park in Creve Coeur, over past the J, over Points West towards Maryland Heights, maybe somebody is commuting at 5:30, 6:30, and in December, It's been dark for 45 minutes at 5:30. You know, so that's more of the commuter time or somebody who's going early in the morning. But you know, it remains to be seen how much traffic we're really going to get through the area. And right now, it's not really fair to look at the segment from Warson Road to Dealman because it's sort of a dead end, right? We don't have that continuous connection. Once the segment's constructed, well, then you can get from Warson all the way down and into Clayton and you know, further into the cycling network around, you know, the region.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh. Two questions. So first, who will pay for this expense of the lighting?
So this has kindly been offered to date by included in the
Oh.
construction. Okay. But what we have learned with solar fixtures is there is a long-term maintenance cost, right? And those tend to be more ongoing maintenance because they're individual fixtures. There's more to each one. Whereas the ones with the underground voltage, which is a more expensive install, those tend to be a little bit easier to maintain long term. But this was intended to go in with construction with GRG. That was their recommendation. Of course, everything has to go to their board for approval as well. But that was the intent. And then we absorbed the maintenance as we do with all of our Greenway projects, right? They build it, they do maintaining and the landscaping for 1 year. And then all of that falls onto city maintenance for future years.
Thank you. And then the second question, are there any other segments of the trail that has lighting already that we can look at?
Yes, but I don't think it's a comparable environment because it's much more urban in the city. But I can ask about this because we did ask about it, and we felt like it was much more of like in the city of St. Louis area on streets that didn't have street lighting, but it was with houses immediately adjacent. It wasn't this sort of a natural setting in the light industrial park.
And I think that's, if I'm correct from our discussion with the city manager, is part of the reason we're considering it is because it's not residential. So we're not impacting houses.
This is not a segue to put lighting in all our parks or anything else. This is just reflecting on the remoteness of this area and, you know, our hopeful intent that
Safety and.
yeah, that this really does become a regional corridor. People use their cars left. I mean, this is, you know, the first step in, you know, really getting away a more bicycle and walking and friendly community region, et cetera.
So I think for tonight, you're looking for direction from council if we want to continue this pursuit.
If you're in agreement with our recommendation and reflect that this is a transportation corridor more so than a park area, it doesn't have any park amenities. And I think that gives us a little bit more freedom to explore the lighting option. And this was a preliminary report that GRG did with the design team.
Yep.
To sort of get us started.
And I'll speak for myself. I'm in full support of this because I think it makes sense as a remote area, not in residential. We're not trying to light all the parks, but it's a remote area for safety. People, to your point, December 5 p.m. is a good example. You know, I don't expect people are there at midnight. But again, we can talk about when you bring it forward, we can talk about the lighting timing at a different time. So,
and when we come to construction, there might be a whole new evolution in lighting controls. It seems like
remote control.
Yeah.
Anyone have any concerns, feedback?
I just got one quick question is, I'm sure you've discussed this with, you know, the police department and they're in support, I would imagine.
Yeah. So this has more so been a conversation with the Parks Department, with Beverly and so on, than a discussion with police services. We certainly don't have experience with this in Olivet in our area. But I think having lighting along the area is, it certainly makes it feel more appealing.
Yeah.
Especially when you leave, if you're cycling and once you leave sort of the roadway, it looks really rather remote. And if you're ever out and about over there, it is kind of a nice walk to sort of go along where the alignment's going to go through there.
Probably want to have some discussions with them just in case
Yes.
there's
No,
unintended consequences,
that's a grand idea. We have discussed it integrate with the other segments about the emergency locators and everything else for response. And that's why we have the ATV type vehicle for the police and fire.
Two things. One is I'm glad to see throughout this document the emphasis on full cutoff and
Mhm.
3,000 Kelvin and less
Yes.
lighting. Glad to see that that's included for all.
It was one of our requests. We said, well, if we're going to do this, we want to meet what we are trying to do as a community, right? That we want to reflect on these, how harsh these LED lights are. And it's kind of an interesting segue of discussion. As you lower that to a more yellow light, the energy use goes up significantly. So that's why they want to use the higher frequency. We were discussing it with a lighting consultant, so.
Are we responsible for the repair and replacement?
We will, yes, once we accept the trail, just like any other ones, we're the maintenance party of the trail, just like through Warson Park and Indian Meadows and everywhere. GRG does support the first year of landscaping. They bring in a contractor to do the watering and maintenance on the landscaping to make sure everything gets established. But once that year is up, the landscaping falls on us as well.
So that would have to go in our budget moving
Yes.
forward.
Yes, it is. So, all these great amenities come in, but you have to take care of them.
Yep.
And it's one of the things that we look at, for the construction, to making sure that the standards they're using are good, durable products for the long haul. I mean, landscaping is always just that goes on forever, maintenance in there, but we want the pavements and the sewer structures and everything else to be like a roadway standard, so we don't have to replace them.
And then I think it'd just be helpful once, you get a little further along the process to get a sense of what the estimated maintenance costs might be
Mhm.
on an annual basis. And then also I'd be curious to know, do those maintenance costs and time
Mhm.
fall to Public Works, to
Parks.
Parks?
Yeah,
combo?
and that'll have to be an internal discussion, given the proximity to Public Works. It kind of makes sense that we would tackle that. Besides, we already maintain solar fixtures along Olive. So when there are certain fixtures at the I-170 interchange that were installed by GRG Design, right? As one of that GRG knew in 2008 that was going to be a Centennial Greenway segment. So they incorporated their design with the MoDOT and with our maintenance agreement we have with MoDOT for the entire corridor. Those fixtures are ours to maintain. So we already maintain some of these solar fixtures that do the beacons, that do the crosswalks. And we've been working on the solar fixtures here at the police department parking bay. So we've been down this before.
So I guess for tonight, then we're just, if everyone's comfortable, giving direction to continue on the path and
Yeah.
come back and with more details.
Yeah, and my thought would be we really want to avoid the utility pole mounted fixtures. My recommendation is, we want to find the sweet spot in the benefit cost ratio between solar and line voltage, and what makes the most sense. And it might be a hybrid solution.
Yeah.
Right. That might be closer to where we have accessible power or easy boring or, burial of the electrical lines might be the solution.
Yeah, I'm all for the lowest maintenance.
Yeah,
Yes.
me too.
But it is a balance to your point of like aesthetics, safety,
Yeah.
maintenance, cost, et cetera, et cetera. So
Yeah. And control, right?
Yep.
We want a solution also that we have the best solution for
Yep.
being able to manage the lighting.
All right.
Okay. Thank you
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Side.
Okay, we're going to move on to city council liaison reports. Just a reminder, we did add a new section, which is item 5 on items from council members. So for now, it's more just liaison reports. Then we'll go to kind of items that the council members want to bring up, not discuss for today, but bring up for future discussion. So, Councilmember Clark.
I don't have any liaison. I don't have any liaison report at this time.
All right.
Neither do I.
All right.
I attended my first Economic Development Commission meeting on the 29th of June. Just a couple of quick highlights. So we talked about the business survey that was recently sent out to all of the businesses. We had about a 5 to 7% response rate. with the last response coming in about mid-April. Business owners appreciated the cleanliness of the city, the emergency services, and just the overall diversity of the community. There are a few pieces of feedback around additional road improvements, such as pothole repairs, better accessibility of several roads by Dealman Industrial and Dealman Rock Island, which is not managed by Olivet. So, and then two ideas that were brought up to help with with the survey and just another general idea. So maybe incentivizing participation of business owners by offering them to do a spotlight on their business and how that newsletter. That was something that we talked about. There's another idea floated around doing gift cards, like an Olivet wide gift card for businesses. So I believe Webster Groves was mentioned as one of the cities that has done that, and they've seen pretty good success with it. So that's something that we're looking into. And I think overall that with the survey, it was a little bit, I felt like it was a little bit open-ended, where it was kind of like, describe what's good about the city, describe where you've had challenges. Maybe if we give them a little bit more direction, rate these 10 things about the city and got them thinking a little bit more, it might be easier to respond. So something to consider for next time. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
I attended the PCDC meeting on July 2nd. Lots of things discussed there. One being the Brass Tap that is looking to put in a canopy enclosure for outdoor seating. Some discussion there, but no decision was made. And then the Ace Hardware that's coming in on Olive, they were asking for a special permit for outdoor storage and a seasonal garden center tent. And there was some discussion about appropriate locations for that garden center tent, and that will come before council soon at some point. Then also attended a check presentation yesterday for the Bridge Center, which is off North Price in the Light Industrial District. If anybody is a bridge player, it's really quite a great community organization. And every year they raise money specifically for Alzheimer's, which the Alzheimer's Association is also an Olivet business. So it's a wonderful collaboration between two Olivet organizations. And this year they raised over $100,000 for Alzheimer's, which is really wonderful. And then I'm imagining you will speak about the NID meeting?
Yep.
Okay, terrific.
Okay, thank you. Yes, as the city manager mentioned, we had a chat with the mayor, our first one, since I took mayor last week, and it was exciting because we did a evening at 5 p.m. versus the morning one. We're going to be mixing those up, evening, morning, to try to get more just variety of people who are able to attend. It was well attended. We have about 35 people there. I want a big shout out and thank you to the staff. A lot of the staff were there from the city to support it, to not only prep for it and set up and get things like that, but also just there in attendance. So I really appreciate them taking time, especially it's after hours. Overall, it was an extremely great event, great presentation from the city manager on what NIDs were. And then I spoke for a bit on what the council's position was. And again, at this point, it's a draft. It's something we're debating, discussing. I think overall, I would characterize it as really strong support for the policy that is before us as a draft. There definitely was also a strong request from many different citizens on private streets to look at the option of what was similar happened in the 90s, which was opening the idea of the city making more streets from private to public. So taking that on. We share that is not part of the current NID policy that's been before us, but that is something that will likely come forward as a discussion, separate. So we try to separate that discussion to say everyone is generally in favor of the NID policy, and I would say generally they were, but we want to have a completely separate conversation around private and public streets because that opens up many more avenues of discussion around cost, funding, ability, staffing, city capacity to take on that. So anything to add? You were there as well?
No, I think you did a great job.
Okay. All right, now we'll move on to items from council members. So again, this is something for us to bring up of things we're hearing from citizens or things you want to mention, but we're not going to discuss it tonight. We might put it on a future agenda topic or something we need to discuss. Anything to raise?
Well, I've heard a lot from our constituents about the removal of a pavilion in Indian Meadows Park. I've heard a lot about it. It's been uh, a pain for them. And I think that we should really, really keep this on the agenda, or at least put it on agenda and really look at getting this removed for them.
So it is actually, and I was going to bring it up in mind, it is actually on our work session on August 4th to get a debrief on kind of the history, understanding. So I know people are here to talk about it today, and I encourage everyone to come, please talk about it. But on August 4th, we have a working session, so there won't be hearing from citizens at that time. But I think it would be very important to listen into it, whether in person or Zoom, to hear kind of what the council, because we need to be educated more on it. So that's a time where we'll be hearing more about it. So.
Okay, thank you.
You know, it was thank you. It was my first time going through, the interviews that we had with, the different people that wanted to volunteer to be commission members. And it was a very tough process. And we were talking about, it'd be nice if we could somehow find ways to keep them active, involved with the community. They're already showing the support that they want to volunteer and do something. But maybe there's a place where they could be alternate commission members, that we talked about, some way to keep them active. Because if we have people that really want to help out, and we have other people that are on commissions already, but are just swamped or busy, it could be a way to help fill the gap, and make sure we have quorum, for tough meetings that need to take place. How we work that out is going to be tricky to keep people active, up to speed, but maybe there's something we can discuss, about that.
Okay.
We call it talking about it. We call it-
Right.
We're having a little parking lot conversation. But in construction, they'll have what they call a toolbox. And, it would be a group of contractors that can do a particular thing. And they may have 2 or 3 different companies that can do that particular thing. You've got a group of people that they're good at certain things. And so if someone is absent, you bring that person in. And if someone keeps coming up absent, you permanently switch that person in and say, they've always been there. They keep coming. Maybe they're just the person to put in that spot, and just swap them out and say, going forward, you will fill that place, because they've shown more interest and more, just more commitment. Thank you. To fill the job. And we create this toolbox, if you will, of eager participants. And then that way they actually can participate.
Yeah.
Because they've already shown an interest. Yeah.
All right. Well, something we can add to a future possible discussion. Thank you. Right. Okay.
Just a conversation I had with a constituent about the concern about e-bikes. I feel like I talk to somebody every week about the concern about kids on e-bikes. And this was a constituent who lives in the Oak Estates subdivision, and walks across to Stacy Park and says they've almost been run over a number of times. So it's just, I know this is not news to anyone who's been in this room, even just once before maybe. But it is an ongoing concern, how to work with safety concerns around those e-bikes.
Yeah. The only thing I'll add, as I mentioned on 8-4, we're going to have Indian Meadows. The only other thing I'll mention is on that working session, we're also going to talk about flock cameras and get a debrief from our chief of police, because that's another area that the council just asked to be educated better on, because we have heard from constituents about that as well. So that will be a good working session where we'll get kind of more information sharing on both those items. All right. We will move on to item 6, hearing from citizens. This is a portion of the agenda where anyone present in person or virtually may address the city council regarding any topic, including those later in the agenda. Each speaker is allowed up to 3 minutes to address the mayor and city council. Hearing from citizens is designed for council to receive feedback rather than for a direct dialogue. We will take speakers in person first, followed by any online. If you're in person, please complete a speaker card and give it to the clerk. If you've already given your card, we'll take you in order in which your card is submitted. If you are online and wish to speak, please use your raise the hand feature. and you will be added to speaker. And then for all speakers, please, make sure the mic's on, state your name and address, and then obviously we'll try to keep it to 3 minutes. I'm gonna, because I know we have a lot of return citizens who want to speak, I'm gonna go out of order by one just because it's a totally separate topic, but we'll make sure to get to everyone. So Ms. Aguirre from Republic Services wanted to come speak.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. I'm just going to take a brief moment. Wanted to introduce myself, Joelle Aguirre. I'm with Republic Services. The address is 12976 St. Charles Rock Road. Our hauling office is located in Bridgeton. I'm just here tonight. I just wanted to make sure you all know who I was. I have an open door policy. I have great information to share, not only what your solid waste recycle program is, but I've got changes that have been going on to the industry. I've got market data, how that all relates to the city of Olivet. So I have a very flexible work schedule, mornings, afternoon, evenings. If we want to grab a cup of coffee, grab a dinner, anything, I'd like to share this information with you. I think just kind of knowledge is power. So one of the first things I would do is probably meet with Jennifer and Bruce. Those are kind of my go-to with the city, so they know what is being communicated, to all of you. So Joelle Aguirre, I think I left my business card with everyone. Did you get one, Mr.? Okay, all right. So that's all I have.
Thank
Any
you very-
questions before, or I guess there's no questions.
Yeah, not
That's right.
these, but thank you.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
Thank you. You guys have a good evening.
You too. All righty, thank you. Miss Rose, please. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I am Alyssa Rose, and I am one of the constituents who had concerns about flock camera systems. I want to thank you first off for the opportunity to share the concerns that I do have. I realized that the previous meeting where the budget was being discussed, I was not able to share my comments that day, but there are some things that I would like the council to consider moving forward. So the first issue is that according to information on Flock's website, the customer owns the data that is produced by the Flock cameras. And given that the customer is the city of Olivet, the Flock data is government-owned data, which means that it could be subject to public records requests if precedents from other places around the country is followed. And so that means that anyone with ill intentions can legally request our information and basically stalk us, which leads to point 2. The Flock system has been abused by law enforcement in multiple places across the country over a dozen times since the systems have begun to be set up, with the majority of these instances being law enforcement officers using the Flock system to stalk romantic partners, ex-partners, enemies. And I'm not suggesting that this is happening, but just that there is a potential for abuse of the system. And Flock also says that there is no network of no network of cameras and no way to track people across Flock owned cameras that are owned by different customers. But the data collected by these cameras is saved and used to build a profile to identify specific vehicles based on the license plates. And this profile can be searched through Flock's database, which all the customers have access to. And federal agencies have also been requesting data from local police departments and gotten it either through cooperation with the local departments or without the local department's knowledge. And all of this information is information that I pulled from various news reports. And with all of this information that I've just said, there are 4 questions that I would like the council to consider. The first is, how do you plan to protect the data of Olivet residents and other residents of St. Louis County who travel through this area, given the public records nature of the video data that's collected? 2, are there or will there be any safeguards in place to prevent potential abuses by law enforcement officers? 3, Okay, 3, if federal agencies were to make contact looking for this type of information, would there be warrants or other legal requirements before sharing this sensitive information, or limits on how long the data will be stored, who has access to it, et cetera?
And we're out of time to go, and please finish your fourth.
The fourth one is, do the crime statistics from before and after the deployment of the flock cameras justify their continued presence in the city? And those were all the questions I have. And thank you so much for giving me the chance to speak.
Thank you.
Ms. Rose?
Oh.
Give her.
Oh, yeah. Do you mind
Rose.
giving your,
If you're willing to share, just so that, I mean, we were all writing notes copiously while you were doing, but if you're willing to share what you have with the city clerk, that would be helpful for us for future reference.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to Ms. Buckles, please. Good
Good
evening.
evening, everyone.
Hello.
Okay, my name is Lueda Buckles. I live at 9638 Huron, where all the activity is going on, a lot of activity. And I've got questions. How long will it be before, or have you included it in your budget about moving that pavilion?
And sorry, we're not a dialogue for today, but
Okay, because this has been going on for quite a while, and we're getting all kinds of activity day and night. If there's no Pacific time, we get it day, we get it night. There was an incident that happened this week. And also, I would like to ask, in your newsletter, would you please tell people, especially the young people, to quit trespassing on people's property? Someone has said that where some of the residents live is common property. When you're paying your rent, or you're paying your mortgage, and children are coming through on e-bikes, okay, and coming through on sleds in the wintertime and all times of day and night, it's very disturbing. So if that could be passed on, because I don't know who's telling these young people, and sometimes even adults. I mean, you have somebody cutting through your property at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, or 1 o'clock in the morning while you're trying to sleep. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right. Ms. Littleton, please.
I'm Jenny Littleton. I'm at 9639 Huron. And I want to thank you all because you said you're going to put this on the agenda, because that's why I was here today. Because the last meeting that I attended, there has been so much drama every day since that last Tuesday, morning, afternoon, and night. And like one of the city council's members who came to the neighborhood to get to see the pavilion said, this is so secluded, it's hidden, so people can get away with doing a lot of things. But unfortunately, there's houses across the street. My bedroom window's right there, so you could hear a lot of the buffoonery, the music, the loud talking, the dancing, the smoking. And unfortunately, it comes in my front yard and my backyard. I don't mind if you drink or smoke, congratulations to you, but do not force it on me and my family. We don't want that. I don't want my kids around that. And we had a incident at 8 o'clock this morning, Lord forgive me, Sunday morning. I had a neighbor had to take her mom to the airport, and there was like a teenager takeover. They took over the swing sets, the slides, the pavilion, and they were screaming profanity, yelling, and all of the neighbors started getting up around 9 o'clock, like, what's going on? And they were like, we run this place and blah this and all this. And some of them started to take off on the trail before the police came. The police did talk to some of them. So, but this is not a hangout. We don't want it. Let's find some more land for that pavilion to go. You will hear from us, but you won't hear from us as much once this pavilion is gone. And then I want to ask if you would please be interested in putting up cameras, because I tell the kids there's cameras on houses, Big Brother's watching you. If you could put more cameras, maybe on the trees, even if it's just for image, that will help because I put the word out there to the kids. Big Brother's watching. There's cameras all over the houses and even in the playground. There is one, and I think it's this for disguise, but even if we can get more, I would greatly appreciate it. And then my other question is, would my city council members please help the residents with AZ galvanizers, whatever way you can, because the smoke has been out of control. I mean, the stench. I mean, the kids are still playing in this strong smoke. It's out of control. And with me and other health issues, I don't want any setbacks, and I don't want these children to have to deal with anything later on that came from that company. So those are my two things. Thank you for being willing to put the pavilion on your agenda, to think about moving it. Hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. And helping us with AZ galvanizing and maybe getting some cameras in that playground and some sensory lights. When cars come up, once they see the light, they'll go because you're shining the light. When the light shines, the darkness must flee. So they'll leave. If we could maybe think about putting that there too, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank-
All right. Miss Miller, please.
Good
Good evening.
evening. Allison Miller, 9620 Huron Drive. I don't have a lot of new information to present. Ginny did a beautiful job updating you on what's been going on in the neighborhood, just that there has been a lot of activity the last couple of weeks at night with teenagers. We assume they seem like teenagers or young adults at the pavilion. The park is closed. They shouldn't be there. We can hear them when we're sitting out on our patio at night. The language, is very inappropriate for kids. And, just they shouldn't be there, period. But they shouldn't be there at night. So I appreciate Sydney mentioning the pavilion, and I appreciate you guys putting it on the agenda for August 4th. That was another thing I was going to bring up, was just what's the next step. And so I appreciate you guys providing that for us. So I just asked the communication be open about the pavilion so we can kind of know what you're thinking, what a timeline is for that, that sort of thing. And then also I was going to bring up AZZ galvanizing again, just because I live right across the street from it and the noise is unbearable. I mean, day in and day out, we hear the clanging and banging in our house, outside our house, the smog, like she said. And it just amazes me that they're allowed to operate that close to residential buildings. Like I don't know, mind boggled, I guess, that that's able to exist. So just ask for your support. As a group, we're getting together on a regular basis, kind of coming up with what we're going to do about it, but just to keep you in the loop that we are organized and trying to fight it. So that's all I have.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience who wish to speak? Anyone? We have one person online. If you please raise your hand if you're interested in speaking. Okay. All right. We will move on then. Thank you all very much. Really do appreciate it. We'll move on to item 7, Bill 3065. Can the title please be read?
Bill 3065, an ordinance granting an easement to Ameren for electrical lines, poles, and facilities at 5 Oaks, Warson Park. Second reading.
You turned it off.
Oh, sorry. Evening once again. Button happy, I guess. Greenway is my topic for tonight. And here we are on the opposite end of town. This is the second reading. If any questions or any ideas or anything had come up since a couple weeks ago, please let me know. If not, I will let you do your business.
Has anything changed since the last time we talked about it?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions or concerns from council? No. All right. Do I hear a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve Bill 3065, an ordinance granting a easement to Ameren for electrical lines, poles, and facilities at 5 Oaks, Warson Park.
Seconded?
Second. All right. Can we please poll the council?
Councilmember Jurgel.
Yes.
Councilmember Solomonov.
Yes.
Councilmember Clark.
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Pashan Hellman.
Yes.
Mayor Lewis.
Yes.
The motion is passed. Bill 3065 becomes ordinance 2835.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. We will move on to item 8, board and commission appointments. City Manager, Ms. Yakby, are you speaking on the appointments?
Absolutely. So at your previous work session, you did interviews of a number of candidates, and we have that slate of candidates on the screen. This includes not only individuals that you interviewed, but individuals whose terms are up for renewal and have indicated that they desire to be renewed. There are 2 items of note. Miss Allison Miller will be filling the unexpired term for Travis Neal, and so that's for 2 years. And Mr. Clark Hickman is filling the unexpired term of Rob Jagal, which is in 1 year. And so both of those individuals will, in 2 years and 1 year respectively, be asked if they want to renew and then renew for a full term. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Also of note, Dr. Kim Robinson did agree to sit on the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Okay, good. Wonderful. All right. Any questions from the council or comments? Okay.
Do we have any concerns with attendance of any of these people?
No, we
Okay.
addressed that when we brought that to you at the very beginning.
Okay.
Do I hear a motion then?
I'll make a motion to approve the slate of appointees to fill board and commission vacancies beginning August 1st, 2026 with terms as noted.
Second.
All right. Can we please poll the council?
Councilmember Jagel,
Yes.
Councilmember Solomonov,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Pashon Hellman,
Yes.
Mayor Lewis.
Yes.
The motion is passed.
Excellent. All right, we're going to move on to item 9, application for liquor license for Mobile on the Run, number 614 at 9371 Olive Boulevard. We do have a presentation from Mr. Trejo.
Just here to answer any questions. Mayor, my name's Carlos Trejo. I'm the Director of Planning and Community Development with the City of Olivet. And what we're doing here is a Mobile on the Run, which has been here since, I believe, 1985. And there prior to that, there was another filling station, is changing their corporate structure. And the current liquor license that we have issued to them is kind of more towards the subsidiary, which was on the run in there. So we tried to work with them to see if there was a way to transfer the current license. But within the restrictions of the code, we couldn't. So they agreed to go ahead and reapply. It will still stay as Mobile on the Run. However, the license would be issued to Wallace Oil as opposed to the subsidiary that's in place. So,
Otherwise, no major changes.
no, sir.
Okay. Any questions from council concerns? All right. I hear a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize the city clerk to issue a liquor license for the remaining 2026 calendar year to Wallace Petroleum LC, doing business as On the Run, number 614, addressed at 9371 Olive Boulevard.
Seconded.
All right. Let's say a second from Mr. Clark. All right. Can we pull the council?
Councilmember Jagel,
Yes.
Councilmember Solomonov,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Pashon Hellman,
Yes.
Mayor Lewis.
Yes.
Motion is passed.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. All right. We have moved to item 10, hearing from citizens part 2. If there's anyone in the audience who wanted to speak, same conditions apply as before. No. All right. And online? All righty. We will move on then to item 11, review and acceptance of minutes. Did anyone find any corrections or changes to the minutes?
No.
All right. Then do I hear a motion to accept the minutes?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the council minutes from June 23rd and the work session minutes from July 7th, 2026.
Seconded.
All right. Will you please poll the council?
Councilmember Jagel,
Yes.
Councilmember Solomonov,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Pashon Hellman,
Yes.
Mayor Lewis.
Yes.
The motion is passed.
All right. Item 12, please. City Attorney's report.
No report this evening, but as indicated on the agenda, we will, or I am asking for a closed session.
All right. So for item 13, someone make a motion for going to closed session, please.
I'd like to make a motion to move into executive closed session pursuant to the revised statutes of the state of Missouri to discuss legal action or litigation and attorney-client privilege matters pursuant to section 610.0211.
Second.
All right, will you please poll the council?
Councilmember Jurgel,
Yes.
Councilmember Solomonov,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Pashon Hellman,
Yes.
Mayor Lewis.
Yes.
Motion is passed.
All right, we will now close this session and go into executive council. Executive. All right, council is back in session and no major decisions were made, so I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
So adjourned at 8:27 PM.